from the News Channel 5 Network. This is OpenLine.
Well, good evening and welcome to OpenLine. I'm Chuck Long, glad to be along with you for the next hour, one of my favorite hours here at News Channel 5 Plus. We are going to be with the expert this evening. That is the expert attorney. Of course, I'm talking about Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm. When you have that legal question and you need to know an answer, Kevin is the person to call. And I know for years, a lot of you make this appointment viewing. We're always glad that you do. Kevin, so good to see you. Glad you're here this evening.
Good to see you, Chuck.
Oh.
Wow, it's good to be back in the studio and see you on this Thursday night in Nashville.
Absolutely. And Kevin, we've said it many times, but I know when somebody calls in with that legal question that they're wondering about and they're thinking, you know, this is probably something that only I'm going through, they call and then we get so many follow-up calls saying, oh my gosh, that helped me. I was wondering about that.
You know, this past week I've had a lot of people that had reached out to me and they said, we've been watching you and Chuck. That's a favorite line. And then the girls at the office said, well, it's News Channel 5. And so it's fun. We love it, but it's all positive, and we're glad to try to answer questions here. And if you need to talk to us privately, feel free to contact us, and we'll do what we can to share.
Absolutely.
You know, knowledge is power. There's no way around it, and if you miss out, then you will regret that. You should take this time, take some notes. I'm all the time telling the lawyers, write some notes in our meetings because you can go back and it will make a difference in your life. Today, you know, everyone is not confronted with what we are confronted with today. So let's take a proactive approach and learn and then share.
That's right. The number to call to get a hold of us here at Ask an Attorney, which is on OpenLine this for the next hour, is 737-7587. That's 737-7587. Of course, 615. Just give us a call. I always suggest, and you know, if you've watched the show before when Kevin's on, the phones get really busy. So if there is that legal question, no matter what that legal question is, just get online with us. We say the sooner the better so that we can make sure that we get to as many of those calls as possible. You know, a lot of people call in, they've got an estate question. A lot of people have a question with, I've got a problem, you know, something going on in the neighborhood, something with the neighbor, something with, a lot of times it might just be the insurance company. You don't know how to deal with them.
Hello,
right here.
Come in. Well, today I called my insurance company. I know a lot of people think about this. You know, we're in the handgun carry. Will your homeowner's insurance, will it cover you if you shot and if there was a ricochet and it hurt someone? Good question. Now, I could already give you an interpretation because when there's a claim against the insurance company, number one, they really don't want to pay and they're looking for a way around. And who is protecting you? You're protecting yourself, but always get the insurance because that second backup plan is good.
Absolutely. You always need that backup plan. The other thing that we, of course, if you are just tuning in for the first time, want to make sure that you know that sitting next to me is one of the top attorneys in the country. You're going to be speaking at some of the top gatherings.
I just told you, yes, we were contacted by the National Trial Lawyers Association just yesterday and asked me to speak at the National Trial Lawyers. So I said, wow, what an opportunity. And my assistant was there. And I said, well, what do you say? And she said, well, how much are they going to pay us? I said, really, Sarah, they're not paying us, but we're looking forward to, and you know, quite frankly, they watch our show. It's on YouTube, this OpenLine, so people have seen many. So Chuck is famous, but he got me an opportunity to speak nationally, which is really unheard of to get that honor.
That is really an honor, so, but well deserved. So, of course, the Kennedy Law Firm, been in business over 35 years. You guys are the experts in so many different areas. Right now, though, we're going to go right to the lines. And again, if you are just tuning in, the number to call, 737-7587. Let's go to the lines right now. James, good evening. We're glad you're kicking off the evening with us here on OpenLine. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Yes, I'd like to ask a question about wills. I know that it'd be necessary to get a will or be better to have a will, but I want to talk about the other aspect of a will, of having somebody to execute the will. Now, if you retain an attorney, would he be able to execute the will, and how expeditiously can the will be done? Like, I've seen people wait over a year to have the will
complete.
settled.
Thank you, James, and I can tell you exactly. You can always, a good understanding keeps down a misunderstanding. When you go to the lawyer, you say, look, we need a will now. It's not uncommon. You know, people are at the hospital. Don't wait till the last minute. Please don't do that. But if you find yourself in that position, the lawyers have the witnesses. Yes, do you have to have 2 witnesses? I'll teach you another little lesson. It's not just stamp this, notarize this. There is a procedure that lawyers go through. If Chuck was doing, Chuck, we would introduce you to the witnesses. Do you understand what you're doing today? Do you know the extent of your property? That's a question. Do you know the extent of who your issue is and what that means? Who are my children? And if he can say yes, and you're of sound mind, of course, he would say yes. That's questionable here on the TV. But we would get it done, and we would go through it, and many of the wills are initialed on every page. Now, I'll teach a little lesson on contracts. So much of the time, some people, they'll say, well, I signed the back. Well, guess what? That may not hold the whole deal, because they'll say, that page was not in there. So a really skilled lawyer many times would have each page numbered, and you know what? If it's Chuck and I, each page initialed. There's Chuck and there's Chuck. Chuck might come back. He said, this is a bad deal, Kev. That's not my initials. Well, you know, we have a little answer for that. It's called a handwriting expert. And they'll say, well, with a 99 percentile, they'll write this little report and you'll have to pay them a fee. Experts are always going to be paid. And they'll say that is within 99.9% sure that's Chuck's initials and his signature. So I've given you some great advice. Take a proactive approach, get it done. Listen to me for the holidays. Thanksgiving, the family will be together. Make sure everybody, it's in your family that needs that, will take steps. There you have it.
Absolutely. Great advice. James, we're so glad that you called in. And as always, Kevin gives such great advice. Let's go right back to the lines right now. Sally's on the line with us. Sally, good evening. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Good evening. Yes. You gentlemen may remember that I called before about a situation with a condominium where a leak was caused. Well, it was not anything I could have prevented, but it was below the toilet line. And, you know, there's that area between my ceiling and their I'm sorry, my floor and their ceiling.
Yep.
That, theoretically, the HOA would cover with its own insurance. But looking into it further, you know, I was told that it was not covered, and they cited chapter and verse, and it didn't really make sense to me. And I went ahead and filed a claim with my insurance company. My insurance company said their reading of it was that I was not responsible. And so the other party called my insurance agency, and my insurance agent was very huffy about it and said, well, that's not the last you're hearing from us. Yeah. And so what I have, the incident itself happened in May, and so this is now November. And what I was told recently by the other unit owner was that she had gone to the HOA, and the HOA was going to pay for their damage. You know, keep in mind I called the plumber to pay for my own. Yeah. And excuse me, and they were going to turn around and fine me. Well, the HOA has not told me that, and if in fact that is true, I suppose I'd have to get a lawyer.
Yeah, and Sally, I'm very disappointed to hear that, but the circumstance you find yourself, everybody is looking after their own interest. The sophisticated, the educated, that's why this show is so beneficial, because you can learn. When we go into an insurance problem, you can already rest assured, I don't even know what it is, but I know the theory that the insurance company is going to come. They do not want to pay the claim. So, and you know what everybody does. This guy has insurance, you have insurance, they have insurance. Let the insurance companies fight among themselves, and you be very skilled when you talk to your insurance of not making so many strong statements to be used against you. You can ask, what does my policy, you see, you're asking questions, what does my policy cover? And so then you can go through that. And sometimes the insurance agents themselves have made a miscalculation. They've represented to you, we're going to cover it, we're going to cover it. Well, they made a mistake. So they have private insurance called errors and omissions. So if they really think they want to do the right thing, they would turn a claim in on their insurance.
Great to know. We appreciate you calling in once again, Sally. Always good to hear from you. And you know, Kevin, you bring up a great point. I think A lot of times we get intimidated. Someone like the insurance company is talking to us, but you have given incredible advice there saying, be careful what you say because they want to use it against you.
Well, that's the call for tonight. If you heard anything, their agenda is not your agenda. We have lawyers all the time talking around conference tables backwards and forwards. And of course, our position is to protect our client, protect our family, protect our interests. And that's what that's our number one focus. And we understand that going to the table.
That's what we want to do. So once again, great advice for Sally. All right, if you have a question, make sure you get online with us as quickly as possible. We want to take as many calls as we can tonight, and that number is right there on your screen, 737-7587. And, you know, we were just I was looking at some of the calls that we had the last time. Everything from personal injury to bankruptcy to family law. We had some nursing home cares, lost job. I mean, so many things that I know you have questions about regarding in a legal firm. So give us a call, get online. We're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll take more of those calls. You're watching Open Line.